Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Everything you need to know. Part 1. When it comes to cinematic heroes, they don't get much more iconic than Indiana Jones. The whip-racking, fedora-wearing archaeologist has tracked down the Ark of the Covenant, gone up against diabolical cult, discovered the Holy Grail, come face-to-face with aliens, and battled both the Nazis and the Soviets. He's survived everything from cobras to boulders to nuclear bombs, and now, after 15 years, Indy is coming back to the big screen. His fifth and from all accounts final outing is titled Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Indy might be older, but as he once put it so well, it is not the years, it's the mileage. And it seems the Professor Adventurer has got a few more miles left in him. But what exactly is the plot of Dial of Destiny? Who's joining Indy on his adventure? And who will be sitting behind the director's chair instead of Steven Spielberg? Well, get ready for one final adventure as we discuss everything we know so far about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
When will Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny be released? The last time we saw Indiana Jones, he was exploring the jungles of South America, avoiding killer ants, and hanging out with a leather jacket-clad Shia LaBeouf. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull hit theaters in 2008, and while it was the second highest grossing film of the year, even beating Iron Man, it's not exactly beloved by hardcore indie fans. So the stakes are pretty high for Dial of Destiny, which is set to land in theaters a little over 15 years after the fourth film.
You've taken your chances, made your mistakes.
Believe it or not, the fifth movie was originally supposed to be released in July of 2019, but 2 additional release date changes and 1 pandemic later, the film was finally scheduled to hit theaters on June 30th, 2023.
What is the plot of Indiana Jones 5? Indiana Jones has faced quite a few bad guys over the years. In the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, he was up against a group of Soviets in South America, and he narrowly avoided having a heart-to-heart with a thuggy cult leader in Temple of Doom. However, there's one particular bunch of baddies who cross Indy's path again and again: Nazis. And boy, does Indy hate these guys. Unfortunately for Indiana, he is not done with the Third Reich just yet, as he'll be butting heads with some very sinister Aryans in the Dial of Destiny. According to an Empire exclusive, the film will be set in 1969, during the height of the space race. In both the film and real life, the US government employed quite a few Nazi scientists to beat the Russians to the moon. In Dial of Destiny, one of those Nazi scientists is a nefarious Voller whose loyalty to Hitler's regime is still strong. As Voller's actor Mads Mikkelsen puts it, he is a man who would like to correct some of the mistakes of the past. Mikkelsen also implied that Voller is searching for something to make the world a much better place to live in. For Nazis, anyway. We're assuming that something is the titular Dial of Destiny, which Indy will need to find first with the help of his goddaughter Helena. In addition to that relationship, the film will focus on Indy truly growing old and getting ready to take off the fedora for good. As writer-director James Mangold told Empire when discussing the script, "It became really important to me to figure out how to make this a movie about a hero at sunset." We also get some clarification on what's going on with Shia LaBeouf's Mutt Williams. While the actor won't appear in the film, Mangold told Entertainment Weekly that we'll find out what happened to the bike-riding, sword-fighting character.
Who is starring in Dial of Destiny? There are few actor-character combos as intrinsically linked as Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford. You simply can't think of one without thinking of the other. And unlike a certain other character from another mega franchise, Ford seems to genuinely love playing Indy. So you might assume the legendary actor has the bullwhip ready to go, and he'll be stepping onto theater screens as Dr. Jones for one more go-around. But who will accompany him on this journey through the 1960s? Well, John Rhys Davies will be returning to play Indy's BFF Sala, and in addition to donning the fez in Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade, Rhys Davies has also endeared himself to fans as the axe-wielding dwarf Gimli in the Lord of the Rings franchise. In addition to his old buddy, Indiana will be accompanied by a new character, his goddaughter Helena, who writer-director James Mangold described to Empire as slippery, charming, the girl next door, a grifter. She'll be played by the fantastic Phoebe Waller-Bridge, best known as the fourth wall-breaking lead of Fleabag. As for the big bad, Mads Mikkelsen will play Nazi scientist Voller, who's tricked the US government into thinking he's abandoned his old ways but is cooking up a dastardly scheme. Mikkelsen is no stranger to playing bad guys, as he's played Le Chiffre in Casino Royale, Gellert Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore, Caecilius in Doctor Strange, and of course the titular cannibal in NBC's Hannibal. Voller's murderous enforcer Kleber will be played by Boyd Holbrook, another actor who specializes in scary roles like the Reaver Commander Donald Pierce in Logan and the Corinthian, the nightmare-turned-serial killer in The Sandman. In addition to these big names, Antonio Banderas of Zorro fame will show up in a cameo role. Plus, Toby Jones of The Hunger Games and Captain America, the First Avenger, will play Basil, Helena's dad, who seems to be a Marcus Brody type based on the trailer. The film also stars Shawnette Renee Wilson, the resident, Thomas Kretschmann, the pianist, and bodybuilder Olivier Richters.
Who is directing Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny? When you think of Indiana Jones, you first think of Harrison Ford, and next, you probably think of Steven Spielberg, the GOAT of action-adventure filmmaking. The celebrated director helmed the first 4 Indy films, and it is almost impossible to think of the franchise moving on without him. However, Dial of Destiny won't see Spielberg calling the shots. While he will remain as a producer, he won't be sitting in the director's chair, as he reportedly stepped away so a younger filmmaker could take the reins. However, don't worry, Indiana Jones 5 is in the very capable hands of James Mangold, who might be the best choice after Spielberg to direct the film. After all, Dial of Destiny is supposedly about an aging Indy going on one last adventure before riding off into the sunset. And Mangold has already crafted a film dealing with similar themes. He co-wrote and directed Logan, the swan song to the 20th Century Fox's version of The Wolverine, and one of the most critically acclaimed superhero films ever made. In addition to Logan, Mangold has helmed some seriously amazing films, such as 2007's 3:10 to Yuma, the vastly underrated Copland, the Johnny Cash biopic Walk the Line, and the impressive sports drama Ford vs. Ferrari. With those kinds of credentials, Mangold seems like the perfect person to send Indy off on one last adventure.
Who is composing the score for Dial of Destiny? When it comes to film composers, there's none more famous than John Williams. Hum a classic movie theme song, and chances are good that Williams wrote it. Jaws, Jurassic Park, Star Wars, E.T., Harry Potter, Superman, that's all Williams. The man even came up with a theme for the Olympics. He's also responsible for the rousing score that accompanies Indiana Jones on each new adventure. And yes, he'll be back for Dial of Destiny, composing a score that's sure to get the blood pumping as Indy travels the world and punches Nazis. Interestingly, at one point in time, Williams implied that The Fabelmans and Dial of Destiny will be his last projects before retiring via the Associated Press. However, in January of 2023, the cinematic legend walked those statements back, saying, according to Entertainment Weekly, "I'll stick around for a while. I can't retire from music. A day without music is a mistake."
Is there a trailer for Indiana Jones 5? The teaser for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny dropped in December 2022 and promised all sorts of adventures for our aging hero. When the teaser starts, it seems Indy has been living the quiet life of a college professor. "I miss waking up every morning, wondering what wonderful adventure the new day will bring us. His friend Salah says, "Those days have come and gone," Indy replies. But as it turns out, adventure isn't done with Dr. Jones just yet. As the teaser progresses, we see Indy picking up his whip, getting in a showdown atop a train, and exploring ruins filled with Greek statues. There's a de-aged Indy in a Nazi castle, and an exciting chase at a ticker tape parade for the Apollo 11 astronauts. All the while, Indy gives us his unique worldview, saying, "I don't believe in magic, but a few times in my life, I've seen things I can't explain, and I've come to believe it is not so much what you believe, it is how hard you believe." We were treated to the official trailer in April 2023, which has scored to the Rolling Stones' Sympathy for the Devil, showing that Indy is a man outside of time in the strange new 1960s. Speaking of time, it is possible that might be a big part of the film, as Mads Mikkelsen's Voller explains why he wants to get his hands on the Dial of Destiny. Hitler made mistakes, and with this, I will correct them all. Will time travel be involved? Is that why so many people want the dial? Not only are the Nazis after it, not only is Indy trying to get it, but it also looks like his goddaughter, Helena, has an agenda of her own, as she is also trying to get her hands on the artifact. This prompts a three-way chase across the world, complete with undersea exploration and aerial action, all in the pursuit for something that could change the course of history.